Hey everyone.
We're live.
Yeah, we're live. Welcome to our probably last webinar ever. And I know I said that on our last webinar, but obviously a lot of things happened recently, and sort of we're here to try and explain those things today. And so hopefully we can sort of explain everything well enough. And any questions that you guys have, like, we'd all be glad to try and help answer. But really today is going to be about me sharing what I learned during this board meeting that I just had. And then, of course, all of the other state officers talking about sort of their experience and sort of their opinion about what went on. And then at the very end, we're going to have a Q&A session where I want all of you guys to be asking whatever questions that you've had. But those of you guys that actually posted questions on my Instagram story, hopefully I will have answered all of those in sort of my little presentation. So thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. Thank you for making it out. Hopefully you guys can learn something and like it can sort of calm you guys. But there is one little thing. There, just like a disclaimer, I don't know all the specifics yet. It's not everything has been decided yet. And really, the board and Ms. Jones said, it's probably better that we take some time before letting people know about exactly what we're gonna do. But I really wanted to make sure that you guys really got you guys really know what's going on and at least are informed about what's happening. So yeah, here goes nothing. This is really pretty much unscripted, so hopefully everything goes well. But so to start off, SLC is canceled. It's really, really, really sad. And I mean, all of us have been working all year to try and make this amazing conference for you guys. And I'm super disappointed that it's canceled. I know all of the fellow state officers are, and I know all of you guys are super sad that it's disappointed. And it's really not going to be rescheduled. That is a definite no. It's sort of been decided already, set in stone, that it's going to be a virtual conference in terms that all of our competitions, all of that's all going to be transferred from physical to virtual in some sort of presentation, video, online testing software combination. And using sort of all these different software tools, we're going to be able to recreate that experience of creating those, doing those competitions in person. And so all of the competitions will still occur. I want to make sure that you guys recognize that, all of the competitions will still happen. And I think Mr. Pierce said this brilliantly, that all of us have been looking for some sort of silver lining in this situation. And there is one silver lining, that is that the National Leadership Conference is still going to happen. And so all of our competitions are going to prepare you for that. And so don't be afraid in that sense, because even if the National Leadership Conference can't happen in person, it will happen virtually or otherwise, but that will happen for sure. In terms of the financial situation, that's probably the toughest question. Everyone's asking, can we have refunds? Can we have this? Can we have that? And the question, the answer is that because so many things are not totally decided yet, for example, we don't know exactly what dates we're going to be doing what competitions, and how exactly we're going to implement the virtual competitions and things like that. I don't have those answers yet, but eventually that information will be sent out to your advisors. But really, most likely, there's not going to be refunds for SLC unless there's some very specific concern that you have. But most likely, it'll be instead some sort of virtual competition, just because a lot of the money was in fact used already for something related to the conference, and that's not going to be able to be refunded. And so I just want you guys to know that. But really, more information about refunds and finances and things like that is going to be released to your advisors later on. In terms of the specifics of how each competition is going to be run virtually, I mean, there's obviously a lot of competitions where there's groups of them, and I have a sort of this rundown here. But so for objective case study events, ones where you'll have qualifying tests, and then after that the top 5 or something like that get to present. Those are most likely going to be determined by test score. For the prepared speaking event, it'll most likely be some sort of like video. For the live sort of presentations like impromptu speaking, those are probably most likely going to be some sort of video type of virtual event as well. For prejudged projects and for like tests and things like prejudged projects and things that you've submitted beforehand that have already been judged, those we'll be releasing the results for those competitions at the same time as we release the results for sort of like all these other competitions, just to be fair in that manner. But like, don't be worried. All of the competitions have been covered, and we're working on the specifics in terms of software and things like that. We're actually working with all the other states because a lot of other states are going virtual as well. And then we're going to like sort of take our tactics and software ideas and things like that, combine them to really make a really great virtual conference where all the competitions can be covered for you guys. And other than that, I mean, in terms of, a lot of you guys have been asking about like officer elections. So the state officer elections will occur. It's not going to be canceled. A lot of these candidates put a ton of time and effort into them. It'll just be turned virtual. They'll still be able to somehow give their speeches or a Q&A type of session online. And yeah, don't be afraid if you are a potential state officer candidate. That will still happen because, I mean, state officers are integral to the future of FBLA. Another thing is awards like BAAs and things like that. So with BAAs, you guys will still be recognized for accomplishing them, the pins and things like that. And really all the awards will most likely end up being sent to your chapters after you compete and after the results are decided. Those pins and the other types of recognition are going to be sent to the chapters sort of at the same time as the awards are going to be sent for all the other types of competitions at state. So once we get the results for those, we'll be sending in all the awards at the same time. So that will probably be a while, but don't worry, they will come. And then other than that, other things like voting for bylaws, bylaw amendments and things like that, all that like voting type of scenario will still occur. And that's going to occur some way virtually, maybe with Wufoo, maybe with something else. And yeah, that's really, I think all that I learned. There's probably more that will be revealed in like the questions you guys asked, but I think that's all that I really have to say. I mean, we all feel super strongly about what happened, and like us personally, we're all like super sad, and we know that all of you guys have put in so much incredibly hard work into like preparing for these competitions and preparing for SLC, but it'll all be okay. I mean, like, this is all just to like protect us and to ensure the safety of like all of us. So with that, I'll probably turn it over to each of these state officers, and they can like talk about sort of how they feel about what happened and everything that went down. But I guess I'll start off with Ethan, sort of, because he can give you a little bit of a national rundown of what's happening and what they've been talking about, but also what he thinks about like what happened. So Ethan, take it away.
Well, obviously, it's a huge letdown to all of us, and I'm sure to everyone out there. But it's my hope that things like the virtual conference can be good ways in order to still have some sort of competition, some sort of election process, and maintain the state leadership conference experience as much as we possibly can. I'm sorry to all of you out there who maybe this was your last conference or a particularly important conference. My heart goes out to all of you. The whole state officer team is pretty heartbroken. I'd say that the only, the major bright side would be that the NLC will still go forward in some capacity. And we're still going through the process of preparing for a physical NLC in Salt Lake City. And it's my hope that that will work out. And of course, we'll keep everyone updated on that and the status of that as the year goes on. But as of now, a physical NLC in Salt Lake City is still in the works. So that's something that we all have to look forward to should we make it to the National Leadership Conference. So since I won't be able to give a goodbye to all of you up on stage at SLC, I'd just like to thank all of you out there for believing in me, for trusting in me, and for making this year what it was up until this point. So if anyone ever has any questions or anything at all that they need, they can always DM me or text me, and I'll be there for them. So thank you all for a great year. Thank you to my state officer team for being incredible, everything I could have ever asked for. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ethan, for that. So one thing is that really a lot of you guys have been mentioning, why was it canceled so last minute? Why at Thursday morning was everyone suddenly informed that SLC was not going to go on? And the answer to that question is really everything Wednesday night last week was going absolutely fine. And everyone was said to come because we really wanted to make sure that SLC was going to happen for you guys. And then suddenly in the middle of the night and on Thursday morning, like the morning of the SLC, school districts started canceling. And despite the board's attempts on calling school districts and trying to make sure that all of them were able to attend, it just fell apart like the morning of because those school districts drew out and because we found out that the state of Florida was going to issue a sort of a state of emergency across the state. And so that's really, I would say, the cause of all of this happening. And so really, like, a lot of us were hit hard that morning. And I think that like I can turn it on to each of these like regional VPs that can like talk about their experiences and also close off sort of like Ethan did with any last words that they want to like tell you guys. So maybe we can start off with Rylan. Rylan, you want to take it away?
Wise man once said, the most dangerous phrase is, "We've always done it that way." And while canceling the state leadership conference is not something that all of us here are familiar with or looking forward to or really even expecting, it is something that was done in the best interest of everyone's health. At the end of the day, that is what's most important. And because of that, seniors will have the opportunity to compete and make it to nationals. Underclassmen and juniors will have the opportunity to make it to the state leadership conference next year. This is not something that's happening permanently. It is a bump in the history of FBLA. And it's not a bump that I want to be here for, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, awesome. Amanda, do you have any words you would like to say?
Going off of what Ryan said, the health and safety is our number one priority. And that's part of the reason why the conference was canceled because of the coronavirus and the districts trying to pull out. But don't worry, your hard work will not go unnoticed. We are moving forward with working on the virtual events and how that goes about, but unfortunately it just had to be canceled. I know I was really excited. I know a bunch of you were looking forward to it, but like Rylan said, it is what it is. So
okay, and Derek.
Okay, guys. So I was on my way to state. We were like 20 minutes out of Gainesville, and I get a text saying state's canceled. I may or may not have cried on the way back home, but it's fine because we're all going to make it through this, whether it be virtually or physically. We're going to do it. I believe in you guys because we are for the FBLA. We are the best. Thank you.
Okay, and then finally, Indu will probably share some last words, some opinions that she has, and then right after that, we'll go to like a Q&A section where we'll try and answer all the questions that you have. So, Indu, take it away. Sorry, Indu's mic was muted there.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
Yeah, okay. We'll fix it. There you go.
Okay. So what I was trying to say is, like Michael was saying, we're not the only ones that have canceled our state leadership conference. But something that we can do is we can actually make it pretty good, because we have people invested in making virtual competition
just as significant as being there as states. So we want to make sure that all your competitions are as close to reality as we can actually bring them. So what I would kind of want to put out there is if you guys have any feedback and any questions about, or like any suggestions about how exactly we should go about that, feel free to let us know, or feel free to let Mrs. Jones and the board of directors know as well, because we're all working towards bringing this as close to reality as we can, and we're all working towards making the most fair and ethical competition that we can, because a lot of our events are in leadership. We know that there's also like a face-to-face aspect of that, which can't be achieved right now, but we're working to circumvent that and find ways to actually go about it. So please let us know. And if I had to thank someone right now, it would be my school, my advisors who may or may not be watching this, hopefully they are, and let them know that FBLA is a big part of our hearts and a part of our lives. And we will get through this. Florida FBLA will get through this as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Indu, for that. And yeah, like sort of like what Indu was saying, like we are still your state officers, and we are. I mean, we weren't formally like we weren't like formally replaced yet per se, and even if we were, we would still be doing all we could to help out. So, I mean, we're still out here. We're still doing our best to try and help out in any way that we can. I mean, I'm still being a part of these board meetings and trying to help out. So, guys, we're here to help, and let us know if you have any ideas, any feedback, any questions. And yeah, like me personally, I think I'll be releasing sort of like the farewell speech that I would have typically given on stage at SLC, like where I thank everyone and things like that. I'll probably put that on my Instagram. And so with that, guys, let's turn it over to the Q&A session and let's bring everyone back. All right, and holy cow, there's a lot of questions. Okay. Start at the top. Okay, so it looks like the first actual question is, all right, I was a candidate for state parliamentarian and I wanted to know how the officers will be appointed. So like I was saying before, the competitions will still occur. The candidate elections will still occur. And that's just going to take the form of sort of like a virtual election. There'll be no hacking, will be good, and everything will be all right. And yeah, so I mean that the specific software and the specifics of that haven't been decided yet, but like it will be virtual and it will occur. Okay, Rylan, can you do the question reading?
Hi. I have the same question. I was a candidate. It's weird in that one. That's okay. There's so many comments that are just screaming at each other. Okay, wait. Let me find. What about election?
I like this one. I like this. Oh yeah. Indu.
This one is bad.
Okay.
When Dew said there's no refund, is that registration, or will we not get a refund on our rooms either?
So I am really sorry, but I don't think I have the answers for that. But at least from what I've heard from my advisor, if the rooms were like the room should be able to be refunded, or and if not, that'll be a discussion between your advisor most likely and like the hotel. Otherwise, what us and like the state board is more like concerned with is going to be like the conference registration fees and things like that. No. Okay. All right, Rylan, go for it.
How would online competitions work? If you guys have any idea about a transition from around 1 hour to 2 for hybrids. So depending on the respective competition, it's going to be set up differently so that there is an appropriate software for the appropriate competition. As Michael mentioned, some of it, if part of it is prejudged and part of it is competition, they will just be based on the prejudged. Some of it, It is a speaking competition. It will be recorded and then put for the judges to view on the video format. But it really does depend on the competition, and every individual competition is being looked at by the board to figure out how to make sure that we have competitions that are treated fairly for everyone, so everyone still gets their fair shot in attending nationals, which is still happening.
Yes. So that's a good follow-up to this question. Ethan, you want to take this one?
Well, like I said before, nationals right now is still going through physically, but that's something that we're going to have to take a look at as the year goes on, and we track the progress of this situation. But that information will probably be pretty well known towards the end of the year. But as of now, the physical conference is still something that's going to happen, thankfully.
Okay, Derek, I think this is a good question for you. Derek? Derek? No? Okay. All right. Well, the answer is no.
Yes.
Okay.
I would definitely come back. I'll just fail.
We would love to, but
I
yeah, no. Will not be affected by coronavirus. Sort of like what Ethan just said. It's going to be, it's sort of up in the air right now, but most likely, hopefully, the in-person NLC will not be affected, and if so, it'll be virtual. Amanda, you want to take this one?
I believe so, because even though we're moving to having the voting system online, for each chapter, the number of chapters you have correlates to the number of votes you get. So I believe it's will be in part. So when you are voting online, it just instead of doing it in person, you're going to be doing it online.
Yeah, and to sort of clarify, like how specifically we'll be voting is like we're sort of just like assuming right now. We just know for sure that it will be virtual, and other than that, we don't have like details yet. Okay, Rylan, can you read it?
As I said previously, the board is going through every individual competition. Once that is done, we will have a better idea of when competitions will be held. But as of right now, it is, as with a lot of other things, still up in the air.
Yeah, so sort of elaborate, like earlier, they were thinking like maybe if maybe we can plan it so that, you know, right when kids are starting to go, like right when we're starting to go back to school, they can have like these competitions and things like that. But really, it's going to be tough because I mean, a lot of us are probably going to be going back to school at like different points like throughout the school year. Some of us will probably have longer breaks than other. We really don't know exactly when we'll be going back, if the situation worsens, if it gets better. But right now, that's still up in the air. But the first people that will probably be notified are going to be like your advisors. Ms. Jones will most likely send out like a mass email, so keep updated with them. And yeah. Even if it is virtual. I think we answered that, right? Okay. No, that's okay. Rylan, you want to be the question reader?
So, as I was getting debriefed about what happened at the board conference that happened earlier today, the idea that they were proposing was that all of the pins, the BLAs and CSAs and stuff like that, and I think even the physical trophies will be mailed to the schools after competitions are being held. So that is definitely something that comes after the actual competition, so it is much further down the road, but it is still something that is being considered. We're not forgetting that.
So if there are online competitions, how will you ensure that there is no cheating or that the tests are secure? So that's a toughie. So really, so we were talking about that a lot during the meeting, and for the majority of these like software like programs that we're going to be using to run these competitions, there's going to be things like you're not going to be able to open up any other tabs, but really, unless we're able to get in a situation where we can get proctors for these competitions, it's going to be hard to actually guarantee that there'll be no cheating, and we might just have to sort of trust these students. But really, that's also up in the air right now. So, yeah. And Indu, do you have any tips?
I don't know. This is a big emotional question. Let me start with the worst possible scenario. You can't. There's no way to pull this one apart. But the other scenario is you can. You can try to do it. You can try to make the virtual competition just as meaningful as this, or you can look on the bright side and know that we're still your option until things get covered, and there's still maybe another year for a lot of you guys. A lot of you that are eligible for states, at least for underclassmen or people that will be continuing their education. So there is hope for you guys. And for the rest of you guys, do you know what the answer to that question is? Join PBL because it's just as good and maybe even better.
Anyone else have tips?
Food, man. Food fills all the holes in all the hearts. But what this does present is an opportunity for even more time for study for these competitions that are still being held. It's postponed, which means that you have even more time to work on one speech, or if it's impromptu speaking, practice your speaking tips. It's giving you more time to work on the things that you were stressing about, and I think that it's important to capitalize on the time.
Would competitions be recorded or live? So even though things like prepared competitions like public speaking, they're supposed to be done in one take. What we discussed is most likely they're going to be recorded just because of like the vast number of people that like we're gonna be having to do this for, and like scheduling conflicts and things like that. But again, that's still up in the air, and there will be specifics released on like how each competition will be run later on. But that's what we have right now. Derek, 2020? Question mark.
No, sadly, I will be leaving.
All right, Rylan.
Hello, what? I'm sorry. I was looking at Whataburger. So one of the questions is, how else am I supposed to try Whataburger? And I just checked, and they do deliver. So there is a solution to that problem.
Yeah, that's true. How will they announce winners? So I'm not totally sure, like how exactly if they're. But what I do know is that they are going to be shipping the plaques and the trophies and the awards to the chapters. And after all the competitions are done, there most likely will be some sort of like some sort of thing that'll let you know. But I'm sorry, I really don't know like the details of that. All I know is that the award will get in your hands. That's would it be like a live webinar? That would be cool. That would be cool.
Cool.
I prepare it.
That's a good idea. So for the pins, most likely what's going to happen is so Miss Jones, I talked to her about this already, and she said she has all the pins, along with other types of recognition and awards and things like that. So that's going to be shipped out to the chapters at the same time that the awards are going to be shipped out. So. Will there still be multiple rounds for performance hunts? I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Whenever the details come out in terms of like how each competition is going to be run, there'll be specifics about like whether or not there'll be multiple rounds. But most likely, the goal right now is to keep it as simple as possible. So probably not. Rylan? Yeah.
That's fine. Okay. Competitions will begin once an analysis has been done by the board on every individual competition to ensure that, like you said, there is no cheating and make sure that this is done the right way, even though it will be a different way. when we find out when competitions will be held, you will find out. We are not as high up the ladder as we like to think. We're the 6 people here were told all of this by Michael an hour ago because he got out of his board meeting 2 hours ago. We're hanging in there with you guys. When we know, we'll let you know.
Sorry. Scholarship applications. That's a really good question. I forgot to ask about that during the board meeting. That's definitely something I'll ask Ms. Jones. Thank you for bringing that up. I'll ask about that. Let me write that down. Okay. Ethan, you wanna?
I do not know the answer to this question, but I'll tell you, FBLA Instagram is a big world, and I've done quite a bit of networking, just meeting people who got those FBLA Instagrams. So if you're really keen on meeting new people and talking about FBLA, there's always someone interested in talking about ideas and about recruiting tactics, about different event ideas on Instagram. So I would check there if you want to do some networking. I know that networking is a really important part of FBLA, and I hope that it's something that we'll be able to do physically at NLC.
Yeah, I think that's a great response. I got some questions on like my Instagram whether or not we could have like separate conference where it's like just networking type of experience, but really that's most likely not a possibility. Unfortunately, I know this is like networking is just such an important part of FBLA, but like I mean, looking at this as the first time that this organization has ever dealt with anything like this ever, I think the best that we can do is try and create this virtual competition. So, okay. Rylan, you want to read the question?
Okay, cool. Will sponsor event winners still receive the financial award #BFP? So all of the award winners, as we said, will be dealt with once we've had the competitions, and all of the physical awards will be mailed out, such as pins and trophies.
How will the 2020-2021 state officers be announced? So, how they'll like be announced in particular, I don't know yet, but the elections will still go on, and there'll be some way of letting you guys know. Derek, all right.
Good question.
That is a very good
that I don't know the answer to.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. But that's another good thing that I'll ask. I'll ask the board. Can you once again clarify refunds in regard to the hotel room reservation?
So the Hilton Orlando Hotel has a contract with Florida FBLA so that we can hold the conference there every year. However, while the state organization has a contract with the actual hotel, the member per room kind of thing is dealt with the advisors. So the person that you're going to want to check with is your advisor because they're the person that booked your room.
Good response. Indu, you wanna?
Yes.
Except for, wait, let me go through that. Michael's a senior, Ethan's a senior, Derek's a senior, Ryan's not a senior, Amanda's a senior, I'm a senior. So that should get you the answer.
Good answer.
Oh, can I answer this one?
Sure, go for it.
Okay, so the question was, I feel like you should designate schools to test in computer labs and have advisors as proctors who have it consider it. The reason I want to answer this is because I have a question about it. Saying that within each region. Okay, yeah. So I think below he also mentioned that you're right. There's still coronavirus. So I mean, if we are going to try to meet up, I kind of defeat the purpose of not getting together for states to clarify that. a good idea. I think the Proctor idea is something that we should definitely consider and have it brought up, whether it be something online like Proctor U, which a lot of us have used through virtual classes where we have to take exams and someone from another country or from another place in the world will watch you, make sure you're not cheating. That's something we should consider. But like Michael's, there are programs that other states are using that we could kind of, feed off of and work together nationally to come up with some fair way of testing people before national standards.
Yeah. And so sort of like build off that, we did discuss that idea pretty heavily in the board meeting, and like especially if that becomes allowed and like this whole coronavirus issue sort of like dies down a little bit, then that's definitely going to be an option that we consider.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that looks like that's the last question. Guys, feel free if like literally if you have anything else, any other questions, anything you want me to bring up in front of the board, then please just like message me on Instagram, message all the other state officers, and we'll try and keep you guys updated. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And any last words?
Great questions. Some funny comments that I was not expecting.
I made an Instagram for it.
I was really trying hard not to laugh as I was reading these, and it was pretty hard for some of them.
I'm gonna miss you guys.
Okay. Bye guys. Have a good night. Who knows? We might even have another webinar. Bye guys. Have a good night. Thank you for coming. Ciao.